Hello, welcome to One-on-One. I'm your host, Greg Walker. I think we're going to have a good show today. We've got a young lady in the house that I think a lot of. She does a tremendous job on her radio show on Mondays, Behind the Badge, on 1400 AM WJZM. She's a PIO. You know what a PIO is? Well, she is the Public Information Officer for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Sandra Brandon is her name. She's a talented woman, and we're going to get to know her much better today and find out more about her job. Settle back, relax, enjoy a fun, down-to-earth conversation with a nice young woman. Sandra Brandon joins us right after these words.
It's the Happy New Year sales event at Matthews Nissan, Clarksville's favorite new car dealer. Save big on 400 new. 2017s are arriving daily. $10,777 off a new Altima, $7,500 off a new Rogue, $5,000 off a new Frontier, $12,000 off a new Titan. You're gonna love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're gonna love our prices, Matthews Nissan.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home has honored legacies. We believe every family deserves a special time of celebrating a life well lived.
Neil Tarpley Parchman, people who care, a name you can trust.
Welcome to our show today. In the house with us this morning, Sandra Brandon. She's the Public Information Officer for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. Sandra, pleasured.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure having you, gal. You look nice today, and you're feeling good. That's good.
That is very important.
Well, you have back problems. We both have suffered that, so you have to fight that, don't you?
I do. I actually carry a cane in my car just in case I need it in emergencies.
Well, bless your heart for that. Let's find out some background, let the folks get to know you. Where were you born and raised?
My dad was in the military, so I was actually born in Seoul, South Korea.
No kidding.
Yes, and because of his military, it brought him here to Fort Campbell.
Right.
And then when he got out of the military, he just enjoyed the area so much, we stayed.
You stayed.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go to school?
Woodlawn, New Providence, Northwest, and then Austin P.
Austin P. How were your years at the P?
Loved them, loved them. Great communications department there, loved all the professors. It's a really good, strong program.
We talk about our college years. I think they were some of my best times.
Me too.
And Austin P is a great school to get an education, but to have a good time.
Yes.
A lot of people don't understand that.
You can still get that college experience, but you're still in a small community, so to speak. So
Right.
it's still a hometown for a lot of people, but it still doesn't rob you of that college experience.
Now, do you have any siblings?
I do. One sister. She lives in Knoxville. She went to UT Knoxville and then met a gentleman out there, got married, had a kid, you know, the traditional, and then ended up staying there.
Now, is she younger or older than you?
She's younger. She's younger than me.
Yeah.
Yes, nearly a decade younger than me.
Goodness, well, she's a pup because you're a pup.
You are very kind.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, she doesn't even remotely look her age. I promise you that. I mean, you're well kept. You've done a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You know, you really have. Now, your father, he was retired military.
Yes.
Was your mother a homemaker?
She was. So she's Korean, so she did have an occasional odd job here and there, but for the most part, she was a homemaker.
Was a homemaker. What was family life like for you growing up?
We were a very religious family, so
Really?
a lot of going to church a lot,
Where do you
a lot
go
of
to
Bible
church?
study. We grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses, actually. So
Really?
So we went to church a lot, 3 days a week. We had a lot of Bible study. That was a big part of it. And then also a big part of it was my dad loved to travel. So we traveled all over the country during the summers on vacations.
And you love to travel.
I love to travel. Love to travel.
You know, we were talking about it a little this morning. What is your favorite place to go in all this country?
I have two favorite places. The first favorite place would probably be Sanibel, Florida. So I love that place. It's called the Seashell Island because when you walk on the beach, it's just covered with seashells and it's gorgeous. A very small island, very homey community, big community. And then the other place is Hawaii. Hawaii is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I can't imagine a more beautiful place on earth than Hawaii.
Than Hawaii. Well, they're two wonderful places. It's it's a shame people go everywhere, but this country has so much to offer.
It does. It does.
And if you haven't visited the good old U.S. of A., why would you even want to go anywhere else until you do that? You know?
From Alaska to Hawaii to the deserts of Arizona, there's a great variety here in our own country.
I mean, it really is. What all did you do after college? What did you do?
Well, I worked in television and radio for about 7 years. And then after that, I started working in finance and insurance sales, working with retirees that are getting ready to retire to make sure that their income is set up where they need to be and so they can...
Now, let's go back to your radio.
Okay.
Now, let's go back. You started at OJZM when we were on Madison Street.
I did. I used to board op for you.
She has engineered for our sports talk show. Yes. She has done that. Think how many engineers I've had over the years.
Wow.
30... Well, I guess it'll be 38 years, August 1. But you've been one of them.
I have. It was a good job. I enjoyed it.
What was that experience like working with me? That was tough, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. You were a great boss. I really enjoyed it. I had never done board opping at that point in time. And it's a little different because you're getting phone calls that come in and having to get the mic ready for you. So there's a lot of balls that you have to juggle when you're doing that job. And so you were very kind to kind of guide me through all that. So I appreciate that.
You also, I think one of your latest jobs, didn't you work for UPI before?
I did. As a wire writer, so it was a great job. I enjoyed that.
It was a great job, and I hate it that UPI is no longer there.
Yeah, and people sometimes don't know what that is. It's basically, it was the competition to the Associated Press.
Yeah, United Press International is what UPI stood for, and I thought they did a super job along with the AP, and I like the competition between those two.
Do you remember when it was actually a true wire service and
Absolutely.
It would come off the wire? Yes, and it would
We'd
print.
have to rip and tear. Oh, my
And then the
goodness.
sports would come through, and then the national news would come through, then local news would come through.
We'd have to rip and tear. Now it's all computerized.
Yes, totally different.
Everything is different. But you had a good background for basically, you've done a little bit of it all, for becoming the public information officer for Montgomery County, for the sheriff's office. So that had to help you get this job.
It did. It was a true blessing. With Austin P and the work that I had at Austin P, I got to work in radio, in television, and in print media. And as you know, it's 3 different forms of media. So, and how they operate are different.
Correct.
Deadlines are different. The writing is different. And now with smartphones and apps, and it's changed again how news is delivered and how it's read and what people want. So, because of that background, it truly has been a blessing to help me, navigate what I do right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's so different than it used to be.
Yes, it is very different.
Why don't, as the PIO, now that's what she's called, the Public Information Officer for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, you report directly, I guess, to Sheriff Fuson?
Yes, and the Chief Deputy, John Smith.
And John Smith.
Yes.
Now, how are they to work with?
They're awesome to work with. I couldn't ask for 2 better bosses. I mean, they're just, if you have any issues, you can go to them and talk to them, and they'll talk to you about it. They're very supportive, so if I ever come up with a new idea as far as a community policing idea to go into schools or something in the public, they're very supportive of everything that I've done, and I truly appreciate that.
We were talking this morning on the deck about Sheriff Fuson, and we're not just saying this because we're on the air. We had some very complimentary things to say about him, didn't we? And there was one thing, I can't remember what it was, I said, I want you to be able to get that in. What was that?
He's a very strong, level-headed leader, and does what he needs to do to get the job done. But I think a side that maybe people don't always see is his kind and compassionate nature,
That's it.
He's very respectful of the judicial system and the laws that we have in place. And regardless of who you are in this life, in this world, in this county, he's going to treat you with respect and treat you like a human.
Well,
and I think that's what people like about him.
And just like the people you have in jail down there, he still reminds everyone they are human beings.
Exactly. And everybody, deserves respect.
Everybody does. What all are your responsibilities?
My main responsibility is communicating with the media. So if there's an incident that happens, if the media has any questions, they're going to call me, and I'm going to get information out to them. So that's my main responsibility. Other things is just community relations. So if there's an event in the public that we need a representative from the sheriff's office and the sheriff can't make it, then I'll go in his place. And anything as far as community policing that we come up with. For example, around Halloween, we pass out candy at some of the neighborhoods, and it's just to get law enforcement out in the community doing good. So a lot of those community events I take care of.
So you're also public relations.
Yes, good. So I manage the public image of the sheriff's office to make sure everything is appropriate.
That's a big responsibility, Sandra.
Thank you. Hopefully I'm doing it well.
Well, I think you are.
Thank you.
I mean, I think you are. It's a big responsibility. Just like when Officer, wasn't it Brown, got hit?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, well, fortunately, he was blessed that he's living.
Yes,
but,
very blessed.
And that was several weeks ago as we taped this show on the we taped this show on the 12th of April, excuse me. When that went down, how did you get the word out? What all went down with that? Tell us how that worked.
So when that happens, I'll either be listening to the radio, and I can hear stuff that will transpire on the radio.
Right.
But I may not have the radio on me 24/7. So whoever is on scene knows to give me a call and to let me know what's going on and apprise me of the situation. And then I will go to the appropriate chain of command and talk to them and get what information I need about what happened. So when the media starts calling, I can relay that information to them. And so, as you can imagine, there's always going to be certain circumstances where we're not going to release names right away or maybe release details of an investigation immediately. So if that's the case, then I will just share with the public what the public needs to know at that time, to know that they're safe, there's nothing bad going on, or our deputy is safe, he's going to the hospital. So I get the information out that the public needs, and that's what happened in that situation. And then afterwards, once we knew that he was okay, the media will come in and say, hey, can we do an interview with him or with you to kind of get some audio of what happened. So, and that's what I did in that situation also.
You really don't just have a typical day, 8 to 4, do you?
No, I don't. I mean, the set hours are 8 to 4 on paper, but, anything could come up at any hour of the day, which may require me to get out of bed in the middle of the night, which, has happened.
Sure.
Or I may have to stay late one day, which has happened. So there is no set schedule per se.
Our guest today is Sandra Brandon. She's the Public Information Officer for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. We'll be back, segment 2 with Sandra, right after this.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
Welcome back. Our guest is Sandra Brandon today, the PIO for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, Public Information Officer, and it's a serious job.
It is.
I mean, it is a serious job. People want to know what's going on, and you've got to let them know.
Right, I do.
And you facilitate that through all different forms of media.
That's true.
It's important, and you've got a good communications background. And before you, Ted Denny did it for a long time didn't he?
Yes, he did. And he was very good at what he did.
And you basically took over for Ted, is what it amounted to. Do you have any hobbies, Sandra?
I love to travel. So
Travel is your hobby?
Yeah, that's my big thing. So I try to get out and travel as much as I possibly can. Of course, this job keeps me pretty busy here lately, so I don't get to do as much as I want
That
to.
eliminates a lot of that, doesn't it?
It does.
Do you have anyone that you go to for advice?
I do.
I mean, you're single, you know, so who do you go to?
I have a circle of friends that I've known for about 12 years, and they're all in their, hopefully they won't be mad at me for saying this, but they're on their 60s and 70s.
Mercy.
Yeah, we all do theater together. And
Much older than you. You do theater?
Yes. Love theater, too. I guess that's another hobby that I really enjoy.
No kidding.
Yes, and because of the age, and they have wisdom, and so I turn to them for advice.
So you're a big proponent of the Roxy and the theater here? And
yes.
would you like to see the new one built?
Whatever. I support what the community wants to do. So if the community and the tax base allows that to be built, then yes, I definitely would support that.
Is there a question? You get asked so many questions being the PIO for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. Is there a question you hate to answer that you get asked so much?
No. I'm here to answer whatever anybody says.
What do you think your greatest strength is, and what area do you feel like you need to work the hardest at?
I'm a very direct person and a very honest person. And
You are straightforward.
I am very straightforward. And what I tell all people in the media that I work with, you know, I'm never going to lie to you. So I'll always tell you the truth. Now, you may ask me a question that I can't answer because it may compromise the investigation.
Right.
And if that's the case, I will just convey that to you. We can't release that information at this time. But I'm never going to ever try to misdirect you or lie to you. I'm going to be flat out honest with you because you have to in today's society because, you know, everybody's going to catch up. Or if you're caught in a lie, they'll know it. So
Sure.
you have to be honest about everything is my strength. And I can be stubborn at times, so that's probably one of my weaknesses. So I can be bullheaded and tell people this is the way we're going to do it and this is how we need to do it. So that's something that I need to temper myself on.
Well, in some degree, probably, maybe, but still, in some ways, that's good.
Yes, it can be.
In some ways, it's not. Have you ever had a hero?
A hero?
A person you looked up to, admired the most?
I admire you, actually.
Wow.
It's true. You've been doing this for a very long time, and I remember working for you, and I admired you at that point in
Well,
time.
bless your heart. Bless your heart.
As far as a general, maybe I admire anybody who is, whether they've been put in a bad situation or made mistakes and put themselves in a bad situation, can rise above that and move forward. And I firmly believe that, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, where you've been in life and maybe what mistakes you've made, as long as you're willing to pay and make amends and you're willing to put one foot in front of the other and move forward in your life. It doesn't matter how big that step is, as long as you're moving forward. I admire people like that.
What do you think is the truest sign of success?
I would say happiness is. I mean, you could put a meter on it and say it's money or fame or you know, a big house or a nice car. And I truly believe that maybe each person has their own definition of what success is, and you have that right. I mean, what you feel is successful, you should go for that. But for me personally, I think doing a good job and happiness.
Finding happiness, everyone wants it, and it's really hard to find.
Yes.
I agree with you. Very good. What is your proudest or most memorable moment?
I love to travel, so I would think probably going to Hawaii was one of my happiest moments. So
when did you get to do that? How long ago?
It's been about 10 years now, about a decade, and I'm sure it's changed a lot since then, like every place changes, but the beauty of it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. I can't even describe it. You know, they say pictures don't do it justice, so it's one of those situations where words would not do it justice. You just have to go and experience it for yourself.
How long were you there?
We were there for about 12 days.
About 12 days. So you got to go to different islands.
We did. We stayed in Honolulu for about 3 to 4 days, 3.5 days, and then we island hopped the rest of the islands. So it was very, very nice. And each island is very different and very beautiful.
You love the beach then, also.
I do love the beach.
Oh, so do I. What is a perfect day like for you? Perfect.
Perfect?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Well,
if you could do anything you want to do, it's a perfect day.
Eat breakfast at Rudy's, because I love breakfast at Rudy's. And then I would say spend the day with friends or family. Either one would be great. And spend some time just driving around the countryside. I like maybe antiquing and driving up in Kentucky or down by Land Between the Lakes.
Just doing
nice
what
drive.
Sandra wants to do, in other words. You have a favorite food?
Au gratin potatoes.
Really?
Yes, I know it's completely random, but yeah, that's my favorite food.
Drink?
Water. Oh, actually, no, coffee. Coffees.
Coffee?
Yes, coffee.
That's what you're working on now. What about music? You a music lover?
I am. Pretty much everything. I mean, there's really no... I mean, I could listen to opera and pop and country. So it runs the full range.
How about movies and TV?
As long as it's not a romantic movie, I am good. So I'm not a big fan of romance movies where people put unrealistic expectations on what relationships are like. So.
Amen to that. And they do that a lot, don't they?
Yes, they do.
No kidding.
As long as it's a comedy, action, adventure, drama, I'm good.
Do you enjoy reading?
I do. I need to do more of it, unfortunately. So,
what's your favorite type of reading?
Historical literature, basically. My favorite, George Eliot, Silas Marner, my favorite book. And I like the classics, basically, is what I like to read.
Sandra Brandon. She is the PIO, the Public Information Officer for the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, joining us today. Stretch Run when we come back right after this.
It's the Happy New Year sales event at Matthews Nissan, Clarksville's favorite new car dealer. Save big on 400 new. 2017s are arriving daily. $10,777 off a new Altima, $7,500 off a new Rogue, $5,000 off a new Frontier, $12,000 off a new Titan. You're gonna love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're gonna love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has celebrated legacies with services as unique as each life.
Neil Tarpley Parchment, people who care, a name you can trust.
Sandra Brandon's been visiting with us today. I hope you've enjoyed it. She's a fine young lady, and she is the PIO with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. And we've talked about a little bit of everything. One thing we haven't discussed that we were just talking about during the break, need to, it seems like it's more and more of it happening. Scams, Sandra.
Yes.
I mean, goodness, especially telephone scams also.
Yes.
People are being taken
for thousands of dollars, unfortunately.
Yes, they are.
And they get a little bit more savvy with each scam that kind of rolls around. And at the sheriff's office, we get calls on a weekly basis that someone's called them, and the foundation of the scam is a little different, but it's basically all the same. We'll get phone calls where someone from the IRS is saying you owe this amount of money, you need to pay it right now. We'll get other people will get phone calls saying that they've missed jury duty and there's a warrant out for their arrest. They also get phone calls where they'll just call and say, you have a warrant out for your arrest and you have to pay all this money. So,
now to correct you, the IRS will not call you by phone like that without sending you mail first.
Right. And the sheriff's office or any law enforcement agency, if you have a warrant out for your arrest, they're not going to call and tell you.
No, they're not.
We're just going to come and get you. So please remember that. So when somebody is calling, whatever the reason they are giving you, from IRS to warrants to you have a family member that's in jail that needs to get out, whatever the reason is, realize that they're just saying that as a scam to get money out of you. So if anybody's calling you saying you need to go get a Green Dot card or a prepaid Visa or MasterCard and you need to go down to the sheriff's office or you need to go here and you need to give us the number on the card, those are all scams, and they're taking people for thousands of dollars.
And there's actually people that go for this too, aren't there?
Every week, unfortunately. So the other thing...
We are a gullible society, aren't we?
Well, I'd rather say we're a trusting society.
Maybe that's it.
And
we are gullible in some ways.
We are very much so. But
I mean, because I'm one of these, I'm very... I don't trust anything when it comes over the phone like that. You know.
And unfortunately, not everybody does that. A lot of people are very trusting. And,
Yeah.
and a lot of times, the other thing that really you want to be aware of is that these individuals, these criminals, have looked up your name, your kids' names. So they know a lot about you, your address, your family members' names, and they'll utilize that to their advantage and try to manipulate that into
You can find
believing.
it all on the computer.
Exactly. So you think it's a legitimate phone call, and it's not a legitimate phone call. And I think a lot of people, think that this would never happen to me. That is, I won't fall for this. But unfortunately, we're not seeing a certain age demographic or any type of demographic that's being affected. It's everyone across the board is, whether you're 18 or 80, whether you work, a blue collar job or you're an attorney in town, everybody is affected by this.
I agree. And I mean, we can all, I shouldn't have said gullible, you're right, because it could happen to me, it can happen to you. I mean, certain things, if people get, say, your credit card, what are these things they're coming around now and scanning and getting your credit card information?
Yeah. There's one particular case where a grandmother here in town, someone had called her and said her grandson was in the jail, and they knew her grandson's name and knew a little bit about her and him, so she believed the phone conversation, and by the end of it they had taken her for $25,000. So you have to be aware that this does happen. People are going to use your personal information against you, and the call is going to sound very legitimate on the phone. But just remember that, the sheriff's office is never going to solicit money for a warrant over the phone. We're not going to call you to tell you that we're coming to arrest you. We're going to arrest you. The IRS does not do business over the phone in that manner. And any other type of organization that they're saying they're representing to try to get money out of you, unless you call them to donate money to a charity of your choice, do not give people personal information over the phone. Do not give out credit card information or bank account information. Just don't share it. Hang up.
Amen. And call the sheriff's department. Call
the sheriff's office. You can also call the FCC. So either way, call both of us.
Call who?
FCC, the Federal. Trade Communications. Sorry.
Oh, I got you. So, but if in doubt, don't.
Yes, don't.
Basically, the way it is. What's your best childhood memory?
Probably going to the Grand Canyon, traveling, back to traveling. Yeah.
If you had a chance for a do-over in life, what would you do differently?
Oh, I don't know. I think we all have regrets, but it kind of shapes who we are today. Maybe not eating that flaming bag of potato chips last night or something.
You know what? You do a wonderful job. Mighty proud of you.
Thank you.
Hey, tune in on Mondays, 12 to 12:30, Behind the Badge.
Yes.
We've had that show on a long time,
We have. Thank you for your support on that.
You and Brian Prentice.
Yes.
Y'all do a real nice job. You have some great guests.
Thank you.
Matter of fact, the guest I'm having on next, y'all had on this past Monday. I don't want to say his name because we may use this show again sometime in the future. But wish you the best, gal.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Sandra Brandon, if you need to know anything about the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department, this is the lady to do it. She's the PIO. I want to thank her. For all of you that tune in, for yours truly, Greg Walker, till next time, have a nice rest of the day, folks.